Hey, my friend, this is Gavin Mountford here, and welcome to episode number 8 of the Attraction Marketing Guys show. I'll be your host, Gavin Mountford, and in today's episode, I'm going to share with you my 6-step sponsoring sequence for essentially taking cold leads that you don't know and that you've never met. And these are people that you've never had any communication with. Maybe they're through Facebook, maybe they're through solo ads, but taking cold leads from the internet and essentially warming them up and taking them through a process so you can then sponsor them into your business, or you can make sales and make income by offering something of value. Now, if you go to networkingsuperstars.com/8, you'll be able to get access to the show notes that I'm going to put as soon as I've completed this recording and any resources that I mention on here. So what we're going to do in today's session, in today's training, is I'm going to talk about the overview of the 6-step sponsoring sequence, essentially. And, one of the main reasons is you have to have a process. One of the challenges that most people have, they come onto the internet and they have no idea, they have no clue as to what they're actually going to do. And, you may have been in that situation yourself before, and you find that you do a little bit here and a little bit here and a little bit here, and it doesn't work, and you change this and you change that. So actually having a step-by-step process, like a 6-step process, so you know roughly where you're at in the communication process. I've got many students now that know where they are in the process with their prospects. And you can take somebody, as I said before, you can take somebody from not knowing you, because essentially everybody starts there, don't they? You don't know them, they don't know you. So how does that person then join your business? From a logical perspective, maybe you've had people sign up in your business before, but were they all warm market people, or were some of them strangers? So this is a process that takes people through, that you can walk people through, that you know where you're at in the process, and you can have pretty much predictable things that you say to people. Now, one thing that you may not know, and you may have heard me talk about before, if you have, is that there's 2 different models in what we're doing. There is the internet marketing model, and there is the network marketing model. And many of you have probably heard me talk about this before. With internet marketing, this tends to be more automated. And most people come onto the internet with the dream of automating everything, setting up the traffic, setting up the capture page, setting up the system, and just driving that traffic and making sales automatically. So you don't have to then pick up the phone like most people don't want to do, or you don't have to talk to people. So it becomes automatic. And I mean, if you imagine for a second, I've got Facebook ads campaigns that are running that are driving traffic to a capture page, and I'm generating leads on autopilot. And I know some of you are also doing the same. And that is an automated process. And the great thing with technology is that it can be automated, and you can actually have this whole process set up once and then just run automatically. And that is the power of the internet. So let's just say, for example, you set up Facebook traffic or Facebook ads, and that drives traffic to a capture page. People go into the capture page, and now they're on your email list, which means you can follow up with those people to build a relationship over time. And if you wanted to, you could follow up with those people automatically, because you set up email sequences. What then happens is the automation continues, and they might go through to a video that you've recorded or you've pre-recorded. And then what happens is they go through a little sales process, maybe through to a sales video, and then they join up in your business. However, the big problem, and you may have tried to do this yourselves before, but the big problem is that in network marketing, for example, or even now, internet marketing, it's not necessarily working like that, because you can drive traffic to an offer, to a capture page, and it won't convert. It'll convert very, very, very low. So you've got to have some other follow-up processes in place. And this is where the second part, this is kind of a tangent, it works in parallel, it works together, that we have a high-tech model, which is what I just talked about, the high-tech automated internet marketing process that I teach in my Attraction Marketing Academy trainings, how to actually set that up, how to set your capture page up, how to do your Facebook ads, how to do your solo ads, how to set your autoresponders up, how to set your community up, so it's automated through that process. But the second aspect is the high touch model. And that is where we're at right now. That's what I'm going to be covering over the next couple of weeks, is the high touch model, because network marketing is all about personal connections, isn't it? It's all about building that relationship. It's all about making friends with people, because essentially people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And I truly believe that the internet is going more and more and more that way. Transparency is happening a lot more. You can't just hide behind a computer and expect to sponsor people into your business. You can't just hide behind your computer and expect to make sales. You've got to get out there. You've got to get in front of people so people can start to build that relationship with you, and people can start to get to know you. People can start to get to like you, and people can start to get to trust you. Now, I don't know many people on here right now, and probably if you're listening to this or if you're watching this, we may never have connected. We may never have spoke on the phone. However, what we're doing is I'm doing a presentation or a training, one person to many. So I'm leveraging technology, but my goal is to have you to, hopefully, as long as I can deliver the training that you want and the value that can help you, is for you to get to know, like, and trust me. And you can see that I'm a real person. You can see that I'm not going to go and run away with your money, or I'm not going to go and hide. I'm always here. You can always find me. And that's what people want from you. So as you build your business, you have to realize that people need to get to know, like, and trust you in order to do business with you. Because whenever you've joined somebody's business, maybe a network marketing business, chances are if you've ever bought a product, an information-based product or software, you kind of got to know the person a little bit. You may not have spoken to them, but you may have seen a video. You may have read a blog post. You may have attended a webinar. You heard their voice. This is why, if you are a network marketer, or if you're struggling to make sales, that's the reason why, is because you're probably not doing the high touch model as well. You're probably just trying to do the internet marketing model. So essentially there are 6 steps that we're going to cover over the next couple of weeks. And in fact, the next couple of months. And I'm going to get you doing these steps and actually implementing them into your business. So step 1 is create. You have to be creating content on a daily basis, not just one piece of content, several pieces of content. You know, what I'm doing right now is I'm recording a live show or a live stream to many people. I'm then going to turn this into a video that I can upload to YouTube. I can turn it into an audio, and you'll listen to it back as a podcast. And I can then have that transcribed if I wanted to. I'll post on my fan page several times a day. I'll post in my groups. I'll email my list. And what happens is that allows new people to get to know me, because most people don't know me yet. And how do you actually get to know somebody? Well, your prospects are never going to find you. This is critical. Make sure you pay attention to this. Your prospects will never find you if you're not out there. Never find you. You're competing against millions of other people. So how are people going to find you if you're not actually creating content? That's why step 1 is create. And we'll go into more detail about the creation process as we progress through this exciting journey. The second part is once you've created content, what happens is basically you generate traffic, because you might create a Facebook ad, you might create a solo ad, you might create a video, you might create a blog post, but that tends to generate traffic. And from that traffic, what happens is you've got to capture the lead. You've got to capture them into your autoresponder, so you can then follow up with them. You can broadcast messages, but that person's got to become a lead. What you can also do is you can capture them as a like on your fan page. So they like your fan page, and then they're going to see your fan page posts. What you can also do is you can retarget those people later. And again, I teach that in my Attraction Marketing Academy, how to actually do that part. And also in your community. And in your community is an essential part of this process. Many of my students and clients now are creating their own communities and building relationships with other people. So we've got create, we've got capture, and then we've got to move into the connect process, where you actually physically connect with people and make friends with people. It's got to be that kind of two-way conversation. The two-way conversation. And this, in the next 2 or 3 stages, it all works similar with a two-way conversation, because one of the challenges, and you may have done this yourself, you may be writing emails, you may be posting status updates, you may be doing video, you may be doing broadcasts, and it just becomes one-way conversation. You send out an email to your list, you send out an email to your list, you send out an email to your list, and what happens is you get no engagement back. This is why the steps 3 and steps 4 are so critical to get in that two-way conversation. So step 3 is to actually connect with your prospect. And step 4 is, I call it comment, but essentially it's engagement. And engagement comes with, like we've got now, you've got some people that are saying, that are messaging me. If you look at Facebook, sometimes I can have posts of 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, up to 100 comments on that post to say, yes, Gavin, I'd like to know more about what you're doing. Yes, Gavin, I'm interested. Yes, I'd like to join you. And people actually come to me to say, yes, I'd like to be able to do that. I'd like to be part of what you're doing. So if you would like people to do that with you and actually engage with you, you've got to start to have two-way conversations with people. And you can only do that through connecting with them and then commenting, which is step 4. I call it comment because it's all C's: create, capture, connect, comment. But really it's engagement. So I hope that makes sense as well. The other next part of the process is, what I normally do is I have a conversation with people. And you've probably had conversations on Facebook before. Just for example, you may have had conversations on the telephone. You may have had conversations across other social networks. And essentially step 5 is communicate. And you've got to have, I call this a communication with purpose. Communication with purpose. And what that does is, rather than just getting on Facebook and saying, hey, how you doing? And they come back and go, I'm well, thanks. And that's the end of the conversation. Or maybe you go, check my business out. It's great. Here's a link. And you send a link to your business. Or, oh, you're a like-minded person. What are you doing? What business are you in? That's just a random conversation. Most people don't have an actual process to take people through to build the relationship. Because if you try to give somebody a link to your business in the first email or the first message, or even the second, or even the third, or even the fourth, without taking them through a specific process, you're never going to sign that person up in your business. You're never going to make that sale. So this is a communication with purpose. Once you've communicated with purpose, you get people to step 6, which is closing somebody into your business. And the great thing with close is you can do it in several different ways. You can do it automatically through your high-tech approach, or you can do it personally by becoming a consultant. You could call it consult and close, where you actually, if you're a doctor, or if you're let's say you're unwell and you go to the doctor and you speak to the doctor and they ask you some questions and they say, what are you struggling with? What's your main problem? What's your main challenge? And you say, I've got a sore throat, I've got, my nose is running, and then they'll start to diagnose. And you can do the same with online marketing. You can ask people, what have you done before? What systems, what software have you tried? How have you tried to generate leads? Have you succeeded? Have you failed? You can ask a number of questions that you can uncover somebody's pains, problems, and challenges, and then you can recommend a specific solution to that pain, problem, or challenge, which means you're not just trying to hit everybody with the same product or service or opportunity. You're actually being selective in what it is that you're recommending, which means that people are much more likely to join your business or buy a product or service from you. So those are the 6 steps that we'll go into more detail about. Step 1 is create. Step 2 is capture. Step 3 is connect. Step 4 is comment, which again is comment is kind of engage. And then we have communicate and close. So create, capture, connect, comment, communicate, close. Those are the 6 steps that you need to use in your business alongside the high touch, high tech approach. Remember, the high tech is automated, the high touch is the personal connection and going through this process. So what I'll be doing is this audio that you're probably listening to right now, if this is an audio that you're listening to, will be part of the Attraction Marketing Guys Show podcast. I'll be putting this on the blog, which will be there tomorrow morning. And you'll be able to get access to that at networkingsuperstars.com/8. And then we'll be running this show 5 days a week, 5 days a week, 5 days a week, and you can attend as I go through this entire process. Make sure you stay connected to our fan page, which you'll find, and I'll give you a link to that right now. Let me grab that very quickly. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to close the audio of this, the actual recording, and I'm going to come back to everybody that's on live. So I will see you very soon. So thanks again for listening to the Attraction Marketing Guys Show.